Thank you very much. So I'm Andrew Azzopardi. I'm the owner of two care homes. One is called Approach Lodge for its rehabilitation for adults with mental health problems, and the other one is Sunnyside House in Essex, which is for young adults in transition with learning disabilities. And what we've developed in both of these homes is a training program. Both of the homes work to help young people with disability or mental health problems progress from 24-hour care to independent living. So after opening the two care homes, I realised that it wasn't right for people to, once they move into a care home, to stay there for the rest of their lives. And we wanted to develop something that could help people transition from that 24-hour care to independent living. And very importantly, once they got there, to give them something that could sustain that way of life. With all the spending cuts from the government doesn't want people to be in expensive long-term care anymore. So we needed to design something which was going to be cost-effective and help people in their goal to live independently. So we decided to innovate, and we wanted to develop something to access the funding that was available from the governments. We designed a model with care homes, with transition flats on the side of the homes, and a training program to help people transition from the main house to the transition flat and into the community. And we also utilise assistive technology to help people become more independent as well. One of the service users that lived with us one day, he used to live in supported living and actually went to live in his own accommodation, and it failed. And when we asked him why that was, he said the gap was just too big. It's too big a gap to move from a large care home with all the staff support, and all of a sudden you're in a flat on your own with 6 or 7 hours a week support. Another resident asked us how far they were down the line with their independence training. And although we were doing all these skills, we couldn't give them accurate answers as to how far down the line they were. So we wanted to develop this program, and we call it the My Life program. And the good thing about the My Life program, it's very structured. It deals with all the topics that an individual needs to live independently. And it's also very good for the management to assess. So when someone asks how far they are down the line with their independence training, you can actually log into the system and tell them what modules they've completed and what modules they've got left to do. And that recording of progress is very important for providers, for the learners as we call them, and also for commissioners in local authorities as well. So it's not the best business model that we've got, because we're actually training people to move away from our business. Not many people do that, but the intention is that we're making someone reach their independence potential while saving the government money in fees. And that helps build positive relationships at a time when funding is very limited. And as we're in the personalisation stream, then personalisation is supposed to be about the person. So there are times when you lose someone in a care home and it costs you £5,000 a month. That's the bottom line. But are you going to focus on the money, or are you going to focus on helping someone to move away? So we're going to go through a little bit of a PowerPoint. We've got some videos we can show you of some of the things that we've achieved as well. So first of all, we'll show off a little bit with some of the things that we've achieved. We won some local district awards in 2010. They were business awards. We also won the Essex Best Innovation Award in 2011. And in 2012, we won the country's Top Care Award at the Skills for Care Accolades Award, as well as the winners of the Winners Award. So our work has been recognised at district, county and national level. And all of those awards are for the model that we've got for care within the care homes, but mainly for the work we're doing with the My Life program, which is helping people to live independently. Now, we just felt that the program is too good to use just in two care homes for about 20 people. So the aim now is to franchise the actual training program across for people in private providers all over the country, local authorities where they can actually buy bulk licences and receive the training so they can use the My Life program across the country. So we're going to look at a little video now which was done by iCare from Skills for Care, and it's partly to do with the fact that we're also employing young people to work with young people, and we hope you enjoy.
I care what he thinks.
I care about the big picture.
I care about her future.
I'll take care of that one. And these.
And this lot.
I couldn't care less.
I care about the little things.
I care about him.
I care about her. I took care of all of this.
I care, but I can switch off too.
I care. I care about my career.
I care loads.
Okay, so you can see someone a little bit embarrassed at the back of the row there, who's one of the stars of that video. So yeah, you see some clips of some of the service users we work with and some of our staff as well. So looking at who we are, you can see there it says My Life is an innovative and cost-effective new approach supporting adults with learning disabilities, and we've designed this to prevent people from going into crisis, sometimes when they're living at home with their parents, to move them on and transition them, and to also keep them there. And we put at the end, we owe it to everyone who has a disability to give them the opportunity to live as independently as they can. This is very important when you think about who is My Life for, who can benefit. Obviously the local authorities can benefit, because the more people that become independent, the more money they will save and the more personalised their service is. We've been residential care providers, so we've seen the benefit in moving 4 people from each of our services onto independent living in the last 2 years. And because of that, we get more referrals from the local authorities, and we've been more or less fully occupied for the last 2 years because the councils trust that when they give us a service user, they're not staying in our home for 10 years. We've moved people on from as early as 10 months and others after about 4 years. Supported housing providers, also outreach workers. This can be delivered one-to-one in people's homes. If you think of the family members, so they might have someone at home who is quite happy living at home, and they want to prevent them when they get old or possibly when they die from going into an emergency placement. So using My Life at an early stage can also help prevent that. And also those in residential care that have been there for a very long time, and people just think they're in residential care. We'll focus on the younger people, but we believe My Life can also help those people that have been in residential care for 15, 20 years, but that have the potential to move on. And obviously the learners benefit, and we've got at the end there about franchise opportunities. So we're looking for people to work with to pilot the programme in their settings around the country. We've got our 3 hallmarks of success. The My Life programme is a journey, not a race. When we first started, we were having people go through a whole module in about 2 hours. We've now set a curriculum which slows them down a bit. It's very important for people to take in the information so they can use that in their life. It's about quality, not quantity, and very importantly, it's there to be enjoyed. Because to get people interactive with this, it must be fun, and the tutors must know and learn fun ways to make this educational. You see here an example of all of the modules here. So you can see there's a traffic light diagram there with ready, steady and go. The ready modules are the preparation modules for independent living, and you can see there you've got things like time management and stress management. You progress on to steady, and you've got very important daily living skills such as personal hygiene, healthy eating, dealing with conflict and money management. And as you progress on to Go, you've got some more advanced modules there, including job search, travel training, housing and health and safety. There's no order that people have to do these in, and when the product is going to be online in the next few months, you'll actually be able to dip in and out of different activities. So abuse, for example, if you wanted someone to understand relationship abuse, they would access an activity within the relationship module, but that could also link to dealing with conflict and assertiveness as well. So you can actually pick and choose online different activities from different modules. So it's very personalised to the individual. These are all the different methods of delivering My Life. As I said, you can deliver it one-to-one. So in our homes, we have groups of 4 learners with 1 tutor, and we do 3 sessions a week. And we also have people that do one-to-one sessions on a topic that only relates to them. We have workshops and different coaching and feedback and question and answer and quizzes. At the end of every module, there's 3 quizzes that they complete so you can ascertain how much they understood what was in the programme. And if they fail that, they can redo the sections in the programme that they weren't clear on and then take the quiz again. So altogether there's 20 modules, plus you've got the introduction. We've estimated that you're looking at around 600 hours of training. So to put that into simple terms, if you're doing 3 sessions a week, 2 hours a session, it would take you 2 years to complete the programme. And if you were doing 2 sessions a week, it would take 3 years. So this is not a quick fix. This is an ongoing development and training for the person. All of our tutors are qualified. We've got a Train the Tutor course, a 5-day course for tutors. So everyone that delivers My Life must be a qualified tutor, and every tutor is managed by an assessor as well, who's also qualified. We've accredited the programme with the National Skills Academy recently, so it's also an accredited programme. And it's very important about the assessment. There's a baseline assessment so that you can see where people are before they begin to do the programme as well. And that way, when you're reporting the feedback, you can actually see how people are progressing. So we've got some examples of modules here, just to give you a little taster of what a module looks like. So you've got here the lifelong learning module, and you always look to understand what the module is about first, so the learners really understand what they're doing. It's all in easy read format, so it makes it very simple for people with learning disabilities or mental health problems to comprehend as well. If we just give you an example of one activity, just to give you an idea, if you've got someone who's training to travel independently, we had a young man whose parents picked him up all of his life every week to go home for the weekend, and it was 2 buses away and about an hour's journey. And what we would do is go through this checklist with him, and they'd write down all the details of where they're going, what bus they would need to get, how much money they would need, and what time they would leave and get there at. He's now travelling independently and has been for the last couple of years. He can go home to his parents on his own, and that made a massive difference to his parents' life, because for 20 years of his life they used to pick him up. If we look at some of the people that we've worked with, Alan's been with us now for about 4 years. He was in his early 20s when he'd moved in, and none of our staff had heard him speak for 1.5 years when he moved in, and he hadn't spoken or made any verbal noises for 7 years before he moved into us. Even his mother hadn't heard him talk. And after 1.5 years with us, he's now actually, some of the wrong words started coming out when he did start talking, because he had so much frustration. You know, all he wanted to say is he didn't want to go down a certain pub, and he couldn't even, he just had to nod or shake his head. So it's quite a life-changing experience for someone like Alan. He's now progressing. Obviously, we're not a magic wand. People still have difficulties and challenging behaviour, but while they're doing all of that, they've got a structured programme that they're following the whole way. If we look at somebody like Gavin, Gavin's been with us for 3 years. He's now stepped away into our transition flat. He's completed many of the modules. Gavin's a good example of someone very articulate, funny guy, very independent, But obviously the more independent you get, the more you're out in the community on your own. And the more you're out in the community on your own, the higher your risk is. So some people think that this programme should be more for people with serious learning disabilities, but actually it's the ones with mild to moderate who are out in the community having relationships and doing things that other people wouldn't do. So it makes My Life very important for those people too. So Gavin's looking to move away to independent living as we speak. This is a video, again, that Skills for Care took after winning the awards last year. It just gives a little example of Gavin and some of the work that we're doing at Sunnyside.
Gavin is off to work at Thurs Council. Gavin has a learning disability, and his job on a very busy reception desk once seemed a distant dream for him.
Probably I enjoy being here because I like working behind reception to girls, give them the hand, and I'll put them in their place.
Gavin lives at Sunnyside House in Averley and twice a week joins Sunnyside's innovative My Life programme designed to build life skills and confidence.
It's just a journey through until you finish. Yeah, it really helps out me, because there's all different modules in the My Life book, in the folder, because it's lifelong learning, healthy eating, confidence, communication, and transitional flat, which is next door to the house.
Gavin loves working at the council, and his colleagues really value his contribution to a job that is particularly demanding.
He's sort of learning every bit of reception, really. It's quite a busy reception out there, so he is learning as much as he can. He takes tasks on himself and says that they're his. So people are getting on very well with him. The staff out there like him. He's a bit of a character. It's been a positive experience for us. I say Gavin's doing very well out on reception.
The team at Sunnyside work closely with the parents of the people they support, as the journey back to the community is not always smooth.
Before she came here, she wouldn't mix the people. If you asked her a question, anybody asked her a question, she looked to me for the answer. But now, people ask her a question and she'll answer them. I'm so sort of, oh, it's my daughter there. I can see a drastic difference in her, I really can.
On his journey into Southend to go to college, he has to change from bus to a train, and the train on one particular day on the return journey here was terminated at an earlier station because the overhead lines were down. I thought, oh crikey, how's Michael going to cope? So there was some announcement over the tannoy which he didn't quite understand, so he used his initiative and went to see the driver of the train. What's up, driver? What do I do now? I need to get to Averley. And he said, well, if you change at Grays, and Michael was okay with that, Grays, I can get a number 22 bus to Averley from there. And I thought, crikey, I couldn't do that. I'd be worrying.
But returning the people who live at Sunnyside to the community is only part of what the My Life programme is all about. This is Alan, taking part in the Sunnyside's Got Talent competition. But when he arrived at Sunnyside, he hadn't spoken for 7 years.
Staff said to him, perhaps we should make a date, Alan, perhaps for you to talk. And Alan agreed on this date. And when I knocked on his door one morning to ask him to speak, he began to speak.
No one system will ever be a one-size-fits-all option for organisations seeking to help the people they work with to have more choice, control and independence. But Sunnyside House think that My Life could become a useful template for many organisations on a national scale.
Where we're at the moment, My Life at Sunnyside was a pilot. Definitely it's upscalable, but the next 12 months will show how successful it can be on a larger scale. I cut me off at the end quite soon there, which is good. We'll look at two more case studies. Catherine is somebody who only lived with us for 10 months, and from the sudden death of her main carer, she was all of a sudden on her own in her late 30s, and all of a sudden she was being placed in residential care like so many people around the country, and they weren't ready and they weren't prepared for while their parents were getting older. And we feel that there's single user licences for people that are living at home with mum and dad who are not in crisis that should prepare those skills now before it becomes an emergency later. After 10 months with us, Catherine moved on. She had significant health problems in those 10 months as well, so it was amazing for her to move on so quick. She now receives about 6 hours a week support in the community. We're not saying it's perfect, you know, it's very difficult for people, someone very bubbly and interactive like Catherine to be on her own all of a sudden. And again, My Life Online will help deal with some of that social isolation as well. Final case study is Kelly. Kelly was someone who lived at Sunnyside for 3 years. She spent a year in the training flat. She finished about 8 or 9 of the 20 modules, and now she's living in the community with about 10 hours a week outreach support. So we're talking about people that were receiving £1,200 a week support and are now receiving £300 a week support in their early 20s. So the final video we're going to watch today is about Kelly and just her story as she was leaving Sunnyside.